test. Okay, so project 2, task 4, workplace health and safety internet research. So this video was going to take you through and show you how to complete the Boolean search techniques, or how to use those, and also to how to complete the advanced search techniques, as well as what to search for when looking for legislation online at a federal or a state level. So start off first, we need to download from Project 2 required documents, the Project 2 Task 4 research document. So this document's already formatted for you and tells you exactly where to insert everything, so you don't have to go creating anything. Also gives you details on exactly what to insert. Okay, exactly what to insert, and just showing you, basically where to put everything for each question so that you don't miss anything. So there's 3 questions in total, A, B, and C. A, B, and C. So we'll go through each of these in depth now. I've got open just Google, just a window with Google, and I've also got my snipping tool open because I've got to do some screen captures, so making sure I've got those open. So the first question, using an internet search engine, identify the current act, piece of legislation, which covers work, health, and safety at a federal level. So we're looking for an act. Which is a piece of legislation. So here in the question, it gives us a lot of the search terms that we need to use. So for instance, whoops, I'll just undo that. So for instance, the words work, health, and safety, the word act, and the word legislation. There's a couple words here, one other word, sorry, that we need to look at too, which is federal. Okay, federal means Australian, that is at a federal level. Legislation can be broken up into 2 parts, both federal and state legislation. The second question, question B, asks you to look at legislation or code of practice in Queensland. Okay, in Queensland, this is state legislation. So anything that you put for your answer for question A has to be at a federal level, a Commonwealth level. This needs to be Australian legislation. So governed by Australia, the Commonwealth of Australia. All right. So we need to take that into account when we complete our searches. All right. So I'm going to use those terms for the first question here. Work, health, and safety. Okay, work, health, and safety. I'm also going to use the word act. All right, let's put that in. Now we need to show that we can use Boolean search techniques, and we need to restrict our search to language English and the region Australia. So I'm going to do that by going into my advanced search techniques in Google. So using Google here, advanced search. Okay. So within here, first of all, restrict language to English. And limit region to Australia. Alright, so I'll just start off, I'll take some little snips. So because I've got these sections here, I'll just take a few little snips showing how I've changed those settings. Just little nice easy little snips, really easy when you've got the snipping tool. Okay, just showing that you can change and modify that. You can see here the alignment's been a bit screw-iffy, so make sure that everything's aligned the same. Just keeps it nice and neat. With these snips, they're a bit plain, a bit hard to see. I'm just going to put a nice border around the outside of them. Oh, so that's made it a bit blurry. Let's put a border, picture border. Just going to put a little border around it. Just makes it easier to see. Yeah, it just gives nice, clear, defined borders around our pictures. Okay. All right. And then the Boolean search techniques for this final one, for this Boolean search techniques, I'm going to take a screenshot. And I might do a couple of searches here, depending on or until I've found the correct piece of legislation. So the final part here, provide a screen capture identifying the Australian WHS legislation and provide the website URL. So the website URL and the screen capture. So I might end up doing a couple of searches, and if you do two or three searches, take screen captures of it and insert in this section here. Okay, there's no reason you can't insert in that section there. A couple of searches. That just shows your ability to use the Boolean search techniques and also to alter your search based on the results that you actually receive. All right, so using Boolean search terms or knowing how that this exact word or phrase, this is very much and. Any of these ones, this is or, and then none of these, which is not. Okay. All right. So that's or knowing that those are our, well, actually these exact words is our brackets. All of these words is and. Okay. So I'm going to use Boolean search terms, and knowing that we're looking for legislation at a federal level, I'm going to include a none of these words, and I'm going to put in every state: Queensland, New South Wales. I'm going to put that in brackets. Victoria, oops, Tasmania, South. Have I missed any? What have I missed? Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, West Australia, South Australia, and then Northern Territory and ACT don't count because they're territories, not states. Okay, so the reason I've put those in there is because we are looking for, and I'm showing the ability to use Boolean techniques, we are looking for legislation at a federal level. I do not want any results that are at a state level, so I am excluding any legislation that pertains to Work Health and Safety Act, okay, to Work Health and Safety that is results or comes as a result of a Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, Western Australia or South Australia. So I'm excluding all of the states' legislation from this initial search. Work Health and Safety, I want to look for that exact phrase. And I'm going to look for the word act or legislation. Okay. So this is showing how you can use the Boolean or this advanced search, which is in fact a Boolean search, which is in fact Boolean searching. You can use it to help improve your searching. So rather than just constantly trying to, particularly this none of words, rather than constantly trying to just keep searching and searching and searching, you can actually exclude certain things and narrow down your search field. All right, so on that note, I'm going to take a full screen capture of this. So this is the kind of thing that I want to be seeing when you do your screen captures. I'm going to take a full screen capture of this and insert it here. Okay, put a nice border around it. Okay, all right, that's showing my first search, and then I'll also put in screen capture of my search results. All right, so let's see what results we get. Okay, we got nothing. That wasn't very helpful at all. All right. If it wasn't very helpful, if it didn't work, let's go back and start again. Probably one of the issues in my search is the use of the word Australia in the States. Okay, the use of Australia in the States. So I'm going to take away take away Western, keep the word Australia. I take away, just use the word Western, and then take away the words, keep the word minus the word South, but get rid of the word Australia. All right. Okay, so that was probably the issue. Okay, the issue being that I specifically I had to not include the word Australia. Okay, to not include the word Australia, whereas, and that excluded all results then. Okay, that excluded all results because everything has everything to do, or the word Australia is going to appear in results for Australian legislation. All right. So we've got some results there. We have some results, so we can take a screen capture of those results there. Just the first few. Don't need to do the whole page, as long as you got at least the first 4 or 5. So there's 6 in that one. Just insert that underneath there. Put a nice page board around it. Okay. All right. So from here now, you need to look further and continue searching until we find the Act which governs and covers work health and safety at a federal level. So I'll go into my first result and have a look, and this is where we would have a bit of a read, and we would look and go, okay, the Model Work Health Safety Act forms the basis of workplace health and safety acts being enacted across Australia to harmonise work health and safety law. All right, so they're talking there. We've gotten a bit of information about Work Health and Safety Act forms the basis of the Workplace Health and Safety Act being enacted across Australia. So that's telling me that there is a Work Health and Safety Act. So I'm going to go back to Google. And search for the Work Health, and it already comes up. You can see it already comes up there. Work Health Safety Act 2011. Again, we have used the Boolean search term there. We've still got our country as Australia and our language. We can change the language. Language should be on English from before. And there we go. So just that little bit of research, narrowing down, excluding the states, we're very quickly able to find out that the Work Health and Safety Act 2011 is the main piece of legislation governing and covering workplace health and safety in Australia. So for our final question there, we want to provide a screen capture identifying legislation and provide the website. So we take a screen capture of this one, copy and paste there, and then also to provide the URL, the website URL. And we paste that there. Put a nice border around that. I'm also going to go back and take a screen capture of these search results as well. Take a quick screen capture of these search results that we got when we did our final search there. So you're able to show, and it's not just, you don't just want one picture of everything, you know, a couple of pictures showing the process you went through of actually searching. All right. So from there, that is question A completed. Shown that you know how to restrict the language to English, you can limit the region to Australia, and that you can use these Boolean search techniques to actually effectively search. So the uses of the word and, or, the minus symbol, which is also the same for not, and the use of inverted commas, quotation marks for keeping things exact. All right. Okie dokie. So the next one, same process applies. The same exact process applies. The same exact process applies for find an Australian government website that provides advice on adhering to work health and safety legislation, regulations and code of practice in Queensland. So we're not necessarily explicitly looking for the legislation now. We need to find a website that provides assistance on adhering to WHS legislation. And we've got some stipulations when we do our search. We've got to show this use of Boolean search techniques, limiting the region, restricting the domain, and making sure that it is current no earlier. The last update should be no earlier than 1 year ago. And then of course providing a screen capture of our chosen website and the URL. So let's start off with our search techniques and also to identifying what we're going to put in. So heading to Google and going into our advanced search tools. Advanced search. I'm just going to get rid of everything from before. Okay, limit the region to Australia. That's easy done. Language, we can leave that as English. You don't have to change that back. Last updated no earlier than 1 year ago. So we want it within the past year. Okay, within the past year. So that was that one, region Australia. And domain, restrict the domain to .gov.au. The reason by what restricting the domain does is it only produces results of a certain quality. So it will only bring up things that are .gov.au. .gov meaning that it is a government website, and .au meaning that it is an Australian website. So we're not going to have any confusing results. We're going to have no confusing results that come from another country or that do not come from a government organization. You can do the same here if you're only looking for .net or .org results rather than .com. Okay, but it will depend on what you're searching for. All right. Particularly for you, for students, if you're searching or you're looking for information for schoolwork, if you restrict the domain to .edu or .edu.au, that's only going to bring up sites that are education or education-based and Australian. Okay. Same too if you're looking for a website from a certain country, you could type in UK, which will bring up only websites from the UK, or .nz, New Zealand. Okay, you need to find out the code for the country you're searching for. All right, but just knowing that is there can be a useful when actually searching, particularly doing research for assessment. All right, so find an Australian government website that provides advice on adhering to workplace health and safety legislation, e.g. regulations and code of practice in Queensland. So let's do, I'm going to put in here WHS. I want codes of practice. I'm going to use that exact phrase. Okay, I want the exact phrase code of practice. So we're going to need to then first we're going to need to extrapolate. What are we looking for here? Find an Australian government website that provides advice on adhering to workplace health and safety legislation. I'm going to include the word legislation as well. Include that there. We want advice, adhering to. It kind of sounds like we want help. Okay, so how to or implement, help. All right. I can't think of at the moment any of the words that we don't want. I can't think of any of those words at the moment. So we'll just leave that one blank. Let's do a search, see what results we get. We might end up same as before and get no results. We might get heaps of results. Let's have a look. All right, so workplace health and safety legislation, how or to or help, code of practice, and the site has to be .gov.au. And you can see that is there. So we'll take a, actually I'll go back because we need to do our screen captures for all of these here. English. Oh no, we didn't have to do English. Region Australia. restrict the domain. Put a nice border around that. And last updated in the last year. There we go. Very simple, very easy. We've shown, and that through these screen captures here, that you know how to change these advanced search features. I'll take a quick snip of this page and paste that in just to show what I've initially searched for. So this was my first search. Of course, it might not be what we're looking for. It might not be what we're looking for. Maybe we need to do some further searching like we did earlier. But this is just showing that you can use that advanced search feature. Okay. All right, so our initial results, again, I'll take a screen capture of those just to show and just to put them into our Word document to show this was our initial search. This is what came up as a result. Put a nice picture border, put just a plain border around that just so it's easy to see. Okay, and then we are still looking for, we need find an Australian government website that provides advice on adhering to workplace health and safety legislation. Okay, codes, e.g. regulations and code of practice in Queensland. So we are specifically looking for something in Queensland because we are from Queensland. So that's ideally what you're looking for there, what you're looking for here. So let's have a look. WorkSafe Tasmania, codes of practice. That one's not going to be appropriate because it's for Tasmania. We want to look for Queensland. Codes of practice Comcare. I'm going to open that one in a new tab because we've got a review because you have to select a site. So we're going to review and see if this website will help us with adhering to workplace health and safety legislation. Code of practice for Work Health and Safety Queensland. Let's open that one in a new tab. First aid in the workplace. That seems much too specific. Codes of practice, work cover. Okay, let's have a look at these three websites. All right, so the first one here, actually, where was our, that's the New South Wales one. That's Queensland Government, oh yeah, codes of practice. So Work Health and Safety Code of Practice offer practical guidance to achieve the standards of health, safety and welfare required in the Work Health and Safety Act and the Work Health and Safety regulations. A code of practice applies to anyone who has a duty of care in the circumstances detailed in the code. So this website does look like it is giving you some accurate information on how to adhere to the Workplace Health and Safety Act. So there's a potential one there too. Codes of practice. Codes of practice for work health and safety. A code of practice provides practical guidance for your business on how to achieve health and safety standards under the Work Health and Safety Act. So this one again looks like it's doing the same exact thing. It's telling you how to adhere to the Work Health and Safety regulations. And this one is a Queensland Government website as well. You can see in the URL. No, I do not want to do that. You can see it says Queensland Government, has the Queensland Government logo, and also in the address it's got .qld.gov.au. We know from our task 3 that if we see a lock, we can actually view the certificate, view the SSL certificate, and we can see who this is from. So the common name, business.qld.gov.au, organisation, Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, and the organisation GeoTrust, and it has a valid period on this SSL certificate. So pretty safe to say this is actually a Queensland Government website. Right. Last one there. Whoops. Codes of practice provide detailed information on how you can achieve the standards. So again, this is exactly the same. However, this one's, if we have a look, there's no lock, so we can't We can't actually check its authenticity. However, though, it does say New South Wales government, and in the URL has .New South Wales, so it's probably not going to be applicable to us. I'm going to go with our ideal website is the Queensland government, the one that is the Queensland government website. So I'll ensure that I take a screen capture of that, and I already have. I'll update that, and I'm just going to highlight. Use the snipping tool, and I'll highlight that one there, and I'll replace this one. I'm just going to highlight that to show that this was the website that I've chosen. This is the website that I've actually chosen, and I've highlighted it within the search results. And the last, provide a screen capture of your chosen website and determine the website's authority by looking at the copyright statement and organizational information. So let's go and just do a quick snip of the website. So we're going to do a couple of screen captures here. We need to determine the website's authority by looking at copyright statement and organizational information. I'll do the URL first as well. Oh. Put the URL in. I'll also have a look at the SSL certificate. I'll take that. That's part of our authenticity. So I can take a screen capture of the SSL certificate as we viewed it. And the other part there, look at copyright statements and organizational information. So we need to find out if this page has a copyright statement. If this Queensland government website has a copyright statement, a lot of times you'll find copyright statements down the bottom within this information at the very bottom of the website. If you're on a website and you're a bit unsure about it, if there's aren't things like a contact us, help, copyright, disclaimer, that kind of stuff, it's probably not a trustworthy website. It probably has some, it's not a particularly great website. Organizations, particularly large organizations, will take things like copyright very seriously. So let's have a look at the copyright statement. Okay, the state of Queensland. The Queensland government supports and encourages the distribution of its material. You are free to use copyright material available on or through this website in line with the license terms. You must keep the copyright notice on the copyright material. Okay, so we have a copyright statement here. You need to read through that in detail. I'm just going to do a quick snip and add that to my page. And the last part that was asked for was organizational information. So if there's an about, if there's something about the organisation, Queensland government's potentially not going to have an about. However, though, we are on, and as the SSL certificate showed us, we are in the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry. So we could potentially find an about them. So we could search the website. Organizational information. Okay, so this is another example of how we can search. Running a business. Here we go. So there is an about section here. About transport. We've got fisheries there. Environment, land and water. agriculture, because we were looking at the agriculture, fisheries and aquaculture. So we do definitely have information there about the organisation. So I'm just going to go back one to the main about section and take a screen capture of this, showing that we can get further information on the organisation from this page. All right, and that's item B completed. The last question in this task. Using the search engine on the WorkSafe Queensland website, and there's the URL, conduct a search for an ergonomic guide to computer-based workstations and provide a screen capture of the search results. So I'll take this link here, just paste it into a web browser, and we need to use the search bar embedded. We use the search bar here in the top right hand corner embedded, looking for or searching for an ergonomic guide to computer-based workstations. So I'm just going to copy that and paste and search. And we've already got a result there, ergonomic guide to computer-based workstations. So we just need a screen capture of the results. So I'll scroll down a little bit, do a snip there. That shows the results. And the URL for the results. And I'm also going to have a look at what I think is the most appropriate result, which appears to be this first one here, and provide a screen capture of that first result, because it is ergonomic guide to computer-based workstations. I'll take a snip of that and provide the URL for it as well, just to show that you're able to just go that little bit more advanced and actually provide the results. And I'll provide the URL for that one. Okay, and that's how you complete task 4.